I know how coaching is so important to a lot of you, and that's why the industry of coaching business has been increasing in the recent years. And that's why I have with me a successful business coach, Seraphine Ogutu, which she has already been in the shoes of all of us from the beginning to like being successful to like changing the way how she does business. So like she already has had that stage that we all are facing. So I'd love for her to like share some value information with us in our YouTube channel, and hopefully anyone that is watching, any questions I have, like post in the comments, because Seraphine and myself are going to be looking for those comments and reply and hopefully add some value to your challenges and what are you currently facing in your business and any questions you might have around the coaching business. So Seraphine, thank you so much for being on the show. We're really glad that you took the time and to like hopefully share some of your wisdom and experience. I wanted to kind of like, I guess, start with how you started the whole coaching business and a little bit about your background so others can get to know you a little bit better.
Thank you so much, Marsilda, for inviting me. Hello, everybody. It's wonderful to be here. My name is Seraphine Ogutu. I'm an executive coach. I've been coaching since the year 2012. And I started my coaching business because I was frustrated in my own business. I started as an entrepreneur in the year 2002. Having worked for several companies, I decided that it was time to do my own thing, mainly because I wasn't getting the opportunities that I wanted. I didn't have a university degree. Nobody was willing to hire me for the positions that I wanted and I knew I was qualified for. And I thought, if I can't get what I want, I'm going to make what I want, you know. So I was looking for positions like group product manager to market various products. But I couldn't get those positions. So I decided, okay, I'll go even higher. I'll give myself a job, CEO of my own company. Now that went wonderful for a while until I realized that it's not enough to be a great salesperson. Because when you run your own business, it's not just the thing that you're good at that you're doing everything else.
So true.
Know? And I quickly realized that managing people and managing the logistics and then managing the back and forth with clients was taking so much of my time besides the sales aspect of my work and besides the sales aspect of my business, that in no time I needed people. And it was a good problem to have. It was a growing problem. So it was a really good problem to have, because when you grow so quickly that you need other people sooner than you expected, it means that positive things are happening within the company, and they were. However, I quickly understood why people hire HR managers, because soon I was being torn between my core business of selling my business and managing the people that I was hiring to help me with the work that I could no longer do on my own. And let's just cut the long story short. Twice, I had people leave my company because I fired everybody except one guy who was a trainer. And by the time that I was doing this, by the time I was getting this feeling that I wanted to fire people again, the third time I thought, this is not a problem of other people. All these people don't get out of their houses in the morning and say, today I'm going to go to the office and I'm going to irritate the daylights out of Seraphine. No, that doesn't happen. So I was the common denominator, and I had to look inward. And that's a painful thing to do, especially when you feel, this is your own company, you've made sacrifices to start it, it's doing well, you're becoming successful, you're getting more self-assured, and you're thinking, I could be the problem. If you think so, yes, you are. And you need to be humble enough to look inward and not just look inward and accept the problem, but do something about it. So I sought coaching. There was this lady called Frida Winger. She's a fantastic coach right now. She had just come from the US to Kenya, where I lived at the time. That's my home country. Mm-hmm. And I took a course with her. I took 3 months sessions with her. And I grew a lot. I run my family, I run my business, and I got serving on boards. Okay, so one of them was American Chamber of Commerce, Organization of Women in Trade, and it was good growth for me, because coming from the corporate sector into running my own business, I needed a different kind of leadership, working and even managing other people who were also business people in their own right, successful in their own right. So these were not my employees, these were not my children, these were peers at the same level. So I was testing myself at a higher level of leadership. It was a wonderful challenge. I also joined the Business Networking International. I became a regional director. I started my own chapter, got 34 entrepreneurs on board, trained them for 12 weeks and launched the chapter, left them running. These were wonderful areas of growth for me as a leader outside of my business. But within my business, what was going on was that as I wanted to expand my leadership to the social network that I wanted to create for myself and become an opinion shaper, what happened was that I needed to replace myself in the business. And because of the instability with my team members, I thought I had to do something about it. So I go to this trade fair in Germany, and I decide to go to a BNI meeting there because I was part of the Business Networking International organization. So I go to a BNI meeting as I'm at a trade fair in Germany, and I meet this gentleman. He's called Wilfred Mannheim. I will never forget this gentleman. And he picks me up from my hotel. He takes me to the BNI meeting. Later on, I go to my trade fair, which was close to the BNI meeting venue. Later on in the evening, he picks me up and takes me back to my hotel. This is how we do things at BNI. I'm no longer a member of BNI, but this is how it works. You help, and that's it. You just give. So I thought, no, this is an interesting gentleman. Just let me have a bit of time with him. So I asked him if he had a bit of time. I said, okay, I'm going to drop my bags into my room. If we could just spend time to have dinner, I come back downstairs. And after 5 minutes of talking with Wilfred, I said, so it's not Wilfred, it's Manfred. And I said, Manfred, hold on. I want that thing that you have. And he says, what is it? I said, that thing that you have. People, this was the most positive gentleman I had ever met. This is a gentleman who was about 66 years old. He had created a computer company. He had created a whole sales team and grew to astronomical levels. He made a lot of money, and then he lost the business because his team members took away the business.
Oh wow!
But Manfred remained the most positive person I had ever met. I said, Manfred, that thing that you have, I want that thing. And he said 2 words to me. He said, Bob Proctor. Unfortunately, Bob Proctor is no longer with us. He passed on last week. Received the message. A man who had tremendous influence in my life. He changed my life for the better, for good. And I have people pouring messages to me saying, Seraphine, I'm so sorry, I had the Bob Proctor passed on. Thank you so much to those people. If you've never known about Bob Proctor, this is the man who has revolutionized coaching. And Bob Proctor taught me how to understand myself, because all human beings are interconnected. Once you understand yourself, you understand everybody else. All your weaknesses, all your strengths, all your insecurities, all your doubts. That's how I started coaching. The minute I worked with Bob Proctor, I changed a lot of processes in my business. And from the time that I worked with Bob Proctor to the end of that 1 year of every fortnight, midnight calls, because he was in Arizona, I was in Kenya. By the time it was 5 p.m. for him, it was midnight for me. I would go home, sleep, and then wake up at 10 o'clock, have a bite, get ready for my webinar, which was 2 hours. So it was from midnight up to 2 o'clock, sometimes 3 o'clock if we had a mastermind after that. So it was a really, really demanding process. But the changes I made in my business after that, my business moved from a $250,000 a year business to $500,000 a year.
Wow, that's great.
Just tweaking little things about myself, about my processes, about the people I hired, about how I trained those people, not just to work for me better, but to become better versions of themselves. That's what Bob gave me, and that's what I passed on to my people. It yielded results almost magically. There are things that people say to you, coaching is powerful. You don't know what that means until you yourself get coached and you start to see the results. So in a nutshell, that's how I started coaching.
That's so true, because a lot of us, when we start the business, we start with the idea, I'm really good at this. For example, in my case, I'm really good at marketing. I'm really good at branding, coming up with ideas, how to grow followers and so on, right? But then what you don't realize is that's not it. That's such a tip of the iceberg of the actual entrepreneurship, because now you have to hire people. Now you have to manage these people, train these people. Now you have to manage your business, bookkeeping, taxes, hire CPA. And then it just becomes this whole thing, and then it becomes more and more about the business than about when the business in the first place. So then you start getting stuck, because you feel this is their problem, or I don't have the right team, or I don't have the right resources, but actually it all comes to you. You need to figure out yourself first. You need to figure out overall, how can you make a process that everything's seamless, and then you hire the right people, right? Sometimes it has to do with the people that you hire. They have to know, they have to be go-getters, because if they're all doers, only when you tell them something to do, then that's not the right team for you. You need people that don't need to ask a question for every step they take. And it's so important to learn from other coaches like you, to learn from people that already have been struggling, that have been in the shoes, and actually tell people how and so like to get from that point A to point Z. A lot of coaches that I know, they haven't probably even went to the $250,000 a year mark yet, because they're still stuck. They're still like, well, I can't grow because I don't have the right people, or maybe their processes are lacking, right? So thank you so much for being on the show. Like, that's just something really important for us to discuss. So it kind of like goes back to the other question is like, why people need a coach in the first place? So I don't know if you can briefly kind of like talk about like, if I'm me or someone that is new to coaching, maybe they think they're doing good, but they're still stuck. What do they need a coach for? And what type of coach do they need based on like where stage of the business they're in?
Thank you for that question. And it's interesting what you bring up, Marsilda, because when you say that you start the business because you're good at marketing, but then you come to a place where you realize it's not enough to be good at what you do. You have to be good at everything else that is involved in running a business. And then you have all these people. And the thing with entrepreneurship is that the buck stops at you. You can't say it's so-and-so's department and that's the buck stops at you. And this is where you want to become a leader, not a worker. The difference between being in your own business and working for somebody else is that everything that goes on around you is yours. If it goes well, everything goes right. If it doesn't go well, even if it's not your area of expertise, you suffer not just because business doesn't go right, but you're bleeding money. You're paying these people. If they make a mistake, it impacts on your income and it impacts on your relationship with them as well. And if you hire people that are smarter than you, which is always something that you should, then it means that you cannot do their job. But you need their expertise in your business to complement the skills that you bring to the table. So you need a coach because you don't see certain areas of yourself and of your work and of your interaction with other people, and you don't know what you don't know. You simply don't know what you don't know. You only know what you know. And I don't care how smart you are, at any given time, if you're not paying attention to your blind spots, you're going to have an accident. When you have an accident in a business, it means that some capital that you have put in there is getting lost. It's very painful when you make a mistake because you have failed to see it in advance and stop it before you bleed more money because of it. The reason you need a coach, and you want to be humble enough to understand that at any given time, there are things that you are not going to see because you're too close to the business. You're too emotionally involved in the business.
Yeah.
It is something that you're involved in every single day. So some of these issues are things that almost become normal. Have you ever been to somebody's house and you're thinking, that picture is not quite sitting straight? You almost want to go to somebody's wall and straighten it out. But they've been living in that house for a long time with this same picture. You're looking at this picture on the wall and you're thinking, that picture is not sitting right. But this person has been living in this house for a few years, and they honestly cannot see that picture is not sitting straight. Because they live with it every single day. It almost becomes normal. This is why a coach comes into your life to look at all those pictures that are not sitting straight on your walls. From the way you look, to the way you speak, to the way you help others understand your vision, and you can trickle it down from your head to the last man and woman in your company, so that they don't just see it on the wall as a mission statement, but they live it in their words, in their actions, and in their behavior with each other within the company and with other people which are your customers. You cannot see this because you have it in your head, and you think that because you have it in your head, other people should see it because I'm so passionate about my business. I'm so good at this. I've done this for several years and I know I can do this. Wonderful. Knowing it alone doesn't pay you. What you need to do is help other people understand what your knowledge does for them, how it adds value to their lives, and that value that they can see and feel and taste and smell and even eat. That's when it makes a difference. Nobody cares about the value that you have until they can benefit from it. Once you understand that, then you understand that you need a coach to help you get that out of yourself and onto other people, the people who actually pay you for it. You know that, a lot of us think that because we know something, we've done it for so long, and we're so good at it, it's enough to get us the things that we want. If we start a business, it's going to be successful tomorrow. No, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
People don't care what you do, and they don't care how much.
They need to see results, or they need to kind of what's in for them, because everybody is selfish. They think about themselves. What's in for them? How does this benefit me? So as soon as you make that clear, it makes it easier for them to understand the value, and especially when you have maybe proof or case studies to show okay, this is how I helped Marsilda, this is how I helped Seraphine. She was having the same struggle, and this is how I brought this and made it to this, right? It turned into this. So and of course accountability. We all need someone to be accountable, because I can learn a lot of stuff on YouTube, right? But I cannot learn from experience. The person on YouTube is not going to show me their actual experience most of the time, and I cannot put it into practice. If I'm not putting it into practice and I don't have someone to keep me accountable, then what am I doing? I'm not doing anything. I basically just waste my money. So that's why you need that coach to tell you what needs to be done, to repeat what you have done and what you need to improve, and keep you accountable. Look, we already did this. Why you keep doing it again? You need to do this, right? So sometimes we need that accountability. It doesn't matter what stage of the business we're in. And we need someone to just call in and be okay, this is what I'm struggling. I feel I'm going back. How do I get unstuck? Or how do I do this? And a lot of things we don't know. There were so many questions I had when I opened my business, and I didn't have other entrepreneurs friends. My family didn't understand entrepreneurship. They didn't even understand the struggles. They're but you're your own boss. You can put in your hours. They didn't understand that, part of my business is this, but a lot of the time that I put in my business to manage the business, I don't get paid for that. People don't realize that, because it's different in corporate. In corporate, you can do chit-chatting, and I'm still getting paid for that hour. I can go for a walk for 15 minutes. I'm still getting paid for that, right? Because I'm per hour or salary. Whereas when you're your own boss, you don't get paid for that 15-minute walk. You don't. So then you're so more obsessed with your business to make it right, because you want more and more time to be about the business that makes you money, and less time about the processes and managing people or managing the business.
Let me just add on something there. When you talk about being an entrepreneur and managing your own time, when you say that corporate pays you even when you take a quick walk, take a 15-minute walk, somebody's still going to pay you. Chat for 15 minutes at the water cooler with your colleagues, somebody still pays you. This is why pay is so crappy. Because they've factored in all those little things that you're going to do that are not necessarily directly contributing to their bottom line, or rather their top line. So once they get their top line, they scheme up what they need, and then they give you a certain percentage of what's left. They divide that among the workers. That's why in a corporate organization, you're always going to earn up to a certain level only. Because they've factored in those minutes that you're not going to be spending on their bottom and top lines. When you're your own boss and people say, but you're in full control of your time. No, because there's nobody else factoring in your 15 minutes, your 20 minutes, your 30 minutes chatting with your child or the visitor who came impromptu. And because you're home, they thought they could just drop by because you're your own boss. No, nobody factors that in. You spend that time talking to one of those people. I don't care how close you are with them. It costs you directly, because that could be time. You could be just recording another video to upload and tell everybody in the world how good you are at this and what problems you solve and why they should talk to you at any given time. These are the things that a coach does for you people. A coach helps you look at, first and foremost, what you're doing from when you get off your bed in the morning to when your head hits the pillow in the evening, so that you are effective at spending every minute of your day on the things that you actually want to do, on the things that actually bring you money. So you divide your 24 hours based on how much you want to make. And then you further divide the time that you have carved out for work based on the value of those activities. So if chatting with Marsilda today on a call is going to bring me business, I'm going to spend 20-30 minutes with Marsilda. It is a good way of spending my time. I will spend time with Marsilda. If we're just chatting about our kids and all, I'll think about it. Yes, we'll talk about that. We can talk about that on Sunday, Marsilda, because I'm not taking away time from my work. I'm taking time from my personal life, and I like Marsilda enough. I'm interested in understanding about not just our business, but also our personal life. We're both women, we're both mothers, we've gone through different journeys, and it would be wonderful to just have a conversation. I'll do that on my weekend so that it doesn't take time away from my business during the weekday when my clients and prospective clients are expecting me to be in front of them in one way or another. Either on YouTube, as Marsilda will help me work with my YouTube, on Instagram, as Marsilda will help me sharpen how I appear on Instagram, so that people can find me. That's a better way of spending my time. But you don't see this in your own business when you're in your own business looking from the inside in. You need a coach looking from the outside in to hold you accountable. And first and foremost, when you have all your goals laid out, the work of the coach is not to tell you what to do, is to help you understand what you want and how your activities are either feeding into what you want or not, so that you make the corrections. Coaches don't do the work. You do the work. Coaches are the objective eyes that help you to see the things that you don't see, so that you can do more.
Thank you so much, Seraphine. Like, I really appreciate for all the value, and I know there's so much more to talk, and maybe hopefully we'll have you again in our show. But for the audience, any questions you have around the coaching business, or if it's even marketing related or business related, like, definitely leave a comment in the YouTube section below, so me or Seraphine can reply to you, help you in a certain way, or maybe even make a video about it. So definitely don't hesitate to reach out. And for any information that you want to reach out to Seraphine, I'll put her contact details below, so you can definitely introduce yourself or reach out to her for any type of questions. Thank you so much, and stay tuned for the next video.